Hello everybody, welcome to a new video. I haven't picked up much stuff recently because of COVID. It means that I can't really get out to toy shows because there's none, apart from a few in London area, and I can't really go to toy shops as much. I went to my first toy shop last weekend, the weekend before, and whilst it was fun, I picked up a few things. I'm missing collecting toys and adding things to my collection. I've been quite quiet because in terms of my buying, because I wanted to try and downsize my collection a bit because I've got too much stuff in my house basically. But over the last couple of weeks I have picked up a few things. And so one of the things I picked this up literally a couple of days ago actually. This is a graded real Ghostbusters Ecto 2.
Fans, reel me up! Ecto 2 will roast those ghosts. Got him! Bateman, Ecto 2's a mean machine.
Still sealed in the box. When you get these things graded, they have to be still sealed. Now this is from UKG and it's scored an 85. I did not grade this myself. I didn't send it in for grading. I have this one for a while. I have it loose. It's pretty cool. Little helicopter thing. I think there is a picture of me holding this box when I was a kid. My dad bought me basically the complete, at the time, Ghostbusters collection really, because the shop was closing down and they had everything for like super cheap prices. So I think for like £100 you got me Ecto 1, Ecto 2, about 4 or 5 carded figures, the trap, the backpack set. You also got me the house as well, because they were super cheap. But yeah, so this scored 85. So I do collect graded items. I'm not a massive grading person, but when it comes to these sort of items, I like them in cases because you will chip them, you'll drop them, and they'll get moved in from box to box and shelf to shelf. Because I've got so much stuff, I just can't have it all on display. So I like the fact that it's in a hard case, and the price for a sealed one and the price for it in the case was the same price as getting it graded anyway. So I don't mind it being graded. I kind of like it. It's got an 85. Now the problem with grading is, I don't know how it's done. I've graded a few things myself. I sent them off to be graded. They were Jurassic Park toys that came out straight out of a box, and they were graded 90. Now this is graded 85. As you can tell on the corners, there's scuffing and a few marks and dents. I mean, it's still nice. The box is really sharp. It's not dented or squashed or crushed, and it's still sealed. But personally, as bad as this sounds, because this is my item, in my collection, I wouldn't have graded this 85. I think this would have been an 80. See the white speckles on the box. So I don't know what their rules are. I've seen videos where people, disgrading and say, oh, somebody sent in a figure and it came back with the wrong grade, and it's not really true, but they grade pretty good. But to me, that would have been like an 80, not an 85. But still, a really cool thing to have in my collection. I'm slowly building up a Ghostbusters collection. If people didn't realise, the movie should have come out last year, Ghostbusters 3, Ghostbusters Afterlife. So I imagine prices are going to go up on these sort of things. So if you are into collecting Ghostbusters, start buying now, because as soon as that film comes out, if it's good, and it has some of the original Ghostbusters in it, I imagine these sort of things are going to go up in price because everybody and their dog will want to start collecting. So yeah, glad to have that in my collection. I've been looking for that one for a long time. So next up, I got this from a guy on Facebook. He has some Jurassic Park stuff for sale, and I don't try and collect every single Jurassic Park item because I'm just trying to put the figures together. But this is really cool. It's a Jurassic Park pencil case, pencil set, stationery set. I had this as a kid. T-Rex doesn't really look like the T-Rex from the film. Doesn't really look like any dinosaur from the film, really. But I thought this is quite cool. Jurassic Park. Ruler. I seem to remember having this ruler as a kid. So I'm trying to collect all the Jurassic Park figures on card, which I've now, from Series 1, which I've now done, and all the dinosaurs on card from Series 1, which I've now done, apart from the spitting dinosaur on the electronic one. But I'm pretty sure I'll pick him up within the next 12 months or so. but I'm starting collecting Series 2 as well now. I try not to collect anything like this sort of stuff, merchandise. I actually like merchandise quite a lot when it comes to toy lines, but no, not for this Jurassic Park, because I just have too much stuff. But because I saw this, I thought, oh, I had this as a kid, and I kind of fell in love with it, and it was reasonably cheap. So I think it was like £18 posted or something. Considering a lot of Jurassic Park stuff, it goes for a lot of money. Right, next up, I bought from an auction a load of Action Man stuff, which I'm not going to show. It's just basically 4 or 5 figures. They're in quite rough condition, and I'm just going to sell them off cheap on the Action Man groups and stuff. But in the boxes, there was a few things which I noticed, and one of them was this SpiderMan Mego figure. Now, it's the original Mego, not the Fighting Furies one. So I think the British one, which came out by Palitoy, you press a button on its back and his arms kind of like swivel up and down and stuff. He's quite good. He's in nice condition. When I bought the job lot, I knew that some of the Action Man stuff I was going to keep in my collection. I'm trying to upgrade stuff like I always do. Upgrade my collection, and then everything else I just sell on or swap or give away for free sometimes. So when I saw this in there, I thought, you know what? There's got to be some money in it. He's got a bit of rubs on his eyes. But somebody out there will have the 8-inch Mego uniform and just match him up. Because he's going to be pretty cheap. I mean, they're going for about £45 now with the uniform. So I don't mind selling that off cheap. Also, as part of the Action Man lot, were these things. These are some of my favourite toys, actually. These are Airfix, basically models, basically toy soldiers. They're not so. Airfix is a model company, but these models are already made up. So all you got to do is paint them if you want to. I won't get them out of the bag, so I just carefully put them in these bags to try and get the boxes secure, because they do crush quite easily. Yeah, so these came out in, I believe, the late 70s, 77 there on the copyright. They are the best, in my opinion, toy soldiers to play with as a kid. Yes, again, my dad went to a shop, which I think might have been like BT's or something, and it was closing down. Again, this is back in early 90s when a lot of toy shops were just going. And they had these at 50p a box. So my dad bought me loads of them. So I really loved them as a kid. And I actually had all the ones I'm going to show you now. So this is the World War II Russian infantry. They look similar to the Germans, actually. But look at that artwork, isn't it beautiful? That's the actual size of them. Yeah, they're really cool soldiers. I mean, if you collect vintage soldiers, you already know what they are. But in terms of toy soldiers, they're so cheaply made. The ones you can get at like newsagents or local corner shops like now, they're just basically just blobs of plastic which resemble a human and a gun, basically. But Airfix used to take a lot of good pride in their sets. My dad was telling me that back in the day, this was like paying. You could pay like $5.99 for a box of soldiers like this, equivalent of, but then like the Britain soldiers, which are nicely made of metal or something, they were like £1.90. So you got 14 in here, and it made sense to just buy these. Next up, we have the British troopers, paratroopers. Yep, I had these when I was a kid. You get more in this box than you do in the other one. I don't know what the copyright on this box is. It looks like it's much more later. There you go, the figures in this pack are unpainted. They're all put together, they're not like model kits like you would expect from Airfix. Can't see the copyright on it, but I imagine I think this is pre-1977. Yeah, British paratroopers. Probably some of the most famous ones, the German infantry. Lovely artwork. And finally the Japanese. Japanese were actually some of my favourites because they came with like a really cool machine gunner, and one of the captain or general, whoever he is, came with a samurai sword, and it's just so cool. Now I paid quite a cheap price actually when it come down to it. I paid, I think it was for these four and a few other bits of scraps, which is nothing really, and him, and it was also a wrestling figure. That came to £22 posted, or £25 posted. It was cheap, so I'll probably get most of my money back in him. I'll probably charge about £20 for him, free postage. These, I got them currently up for £30 each because they are selling, surprisingly, anywhere between £16-17 for a crushed box, and some figures up to like £35. I know these used to be relatively cheap. They used to always be around about the £25 mark. But I imagine because of COVID, everything's going up in price again. So I'll get my money back in one of these, or if I sell him. Also, there's a chap, most people probably recognise him, called John. He goes round, he's on all the groups, and he has some of the most amazing, random vintage things for sale, mainly vintage toys and movie-related stuff. He's a bit of he collects like merchandise more than action figures and stuff, and he always has good stuff. And something I've been after for a while is I like trading cards. I don't collect all trading cards, but Close Encounters is one of my favourite films of all time. It's definitely in the top 3, and there's hardly any merchandise to do with this film. You can get like some action figures, like bendy figures of the Alien. I believe you can get maybe like a toy car from recently, and you can get, I think that's pretty much it. The soundtrack on vinyl. That's it. It's hardly anything to do with Close Encounters out there. So when this came up for sale, I was just said to him, he wanted like a good price for the whole box filled, and I was like, oh no, I can't afford it. I can't pay £100 for it, because even though it was a good price, I just didn't have the money at the time. But then he then decided to split the box up and sell the box on its own, and throw in a pack. So yeah, I just was like all over it. It was super cheap for what I was happy to pay for. I'd only paid for bought one of these off of US eBay, and it was going to cost me like £25 for the box on its own, then £10 postage, and then about another £10 for import tax. It's always the way. But yeah, really cool. Little fact I didn't realise about these cards is Richard Dreyfuss, who plays the main character in the film, they didn't actually secure the rights to his likeness, so they couldn't use him in the cards, which is bizarre because he's the main character. It's like having the rights to Indiana Jones and not having Indiana Jones. So yeah, very odd, very, very odd. They didn't chase it up. I don't know why they didn't go and ask him, but maybe he's awkward to work with, who knows. But yeah, lovely Close Encounters box, display box. I'm one day going to get myself an area somewhere to put all my Close Encounters items on display, but they're very hard to find. But yeah, absolutely love this. Next up, we have a whole bag of wrestlers. I paid £36 for these. I think it might have been a bit too much, but I'm always after good quality wrestlers because I am going to get them graded. So people can moan at me as much as they want, but I love collecting wrestlers graded, and I'm going for high scores. So I find the hunt for good quality toys is part of the fun. So yeah, I'm going for good quality stuff. And this came up and I was surprised nobody was on this as much as I thought they would be, because wrestlers are going up so much at the moment. They used to be really cheap. I used to have it on my stall. I was watching a video recently back in 2019, and on my stall I had like 20 of these figures all laid out for like £3 each, and nobody wanted them, and they were all in good condition as well. So here is Macho King. Action's still good. Unfortunately, I'm trying to get one where it has no paint rubs on the knee pads, but that's the closest I can get to one where it looks quite good. Generally speaking, he's really easy to find, but finding him with the accessories complete is dead hard. Those came from the accessories actually came from my toy box, which I've been. He's quite cool. Can't remember what they're called. $1 Million Man. Unfortunately, he is action is completely dead. Limp arms, which is a shame. There's a few figures which are slowly going up in price. There's always been like the rare series, series 12, and like the black cape, black jacket version of Undertaker, and that sort of Bret Hart and everything, which is with the red or pink or something. So it's, they've always been quite high, but some figures are just going up slowly and slowly at a good rate, and you know, one day you're going to get caught out. So if you're into wrestling, start buying these figures up now, because they're going to go for the roof. I imagine that there's a lot of people who are my age who remember these and have income to spend and are happy to spend it on these because they're relatively cheap still, but they will go up in price. Undertaker. The Undertaker is one of those figures that I find in every single job lot, but he always has paintwear on his hands, always, which is a shame. Jake the Snake, he actually comes with his snake, which is quite cool. Not super rare to to find with his snake, but I struggle to find a good quality one. I've got a really nice quality Jake the Snake in my collection, which might go off the grading, but his arm is a little bit loose. I think they're always loose because of the mechanism. It basically has a bar spring in there. What's this guy called? It's called the Hammer. He's really nice condition and he works really well. He's probably going to stay in my collection for now. The others I'm going to try and... It's a bit weird because I'm trying to obviously save all my toys for Toy Fairs, but the problem is obviously with Toy Fairs not being around and not coming back to the end of June, it seems unlikely that I'm going to not sell some things to get some money for my collection really. Bit of a shame because I've been really trying to build up good quality toys for the show, nice cheap stuff and some rare things as well, but unfortunately with the toy shows and because of COVID, we all know it's not going to happen soon. Next up is one of my holy grail pieces. I've been wanting this figure for a long time. This is the Indiana Jones Kenner Raiders Lost Ark 12-inch figure. I think it's amazing. I think he looks really good. Amazing jacket. It's got his whip. It's got his gun in his holster. The jacket's really nice for the time. It just looks really good. And then unfortunately you get to the hat. So when they made this, they bulked out and decided to make a fabric hat, and it is absolutely awful. It looks a bit like, do you know in Last Crusade when Sean Connery, his hat gets wet or something and he puts it back on his head or something stupid like that? It's that really kind of stupid hat. Why? I don't know why they made that hat. When they made this toy, it's based off the Han Solo figure. He's pretty good. He's got a bit of a mark on his forehead, which I will try and get rid of soon. He's really cool. He looks really good on his stand. He looks lovely in display, and it comes with this nice yellow, which is the colour scheme for Indiana Jones. Got a desert kind of look to it. The box is a bit ropey at the top. That's fine by me. It looks good from the front. So I'm going to try and get myself a plastic case to put this in, just to make it look nicer. But what a shame they ruined the hat. It's so weird. It looks like he's like a farmer or something. It doesn't look like Indiana Jones at all. At the time, there was other toy lines which have plastic hats which look exactly like Indiana Jones's Indiana Jones's hat. So I will try and track one of those down just for display. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, what a shame, eh? What a shame. But yeah, it would do for now. But yeah, this is one of my holy grails. The Indiana Jones toy line is so expensive. It always has been, but recently in COVID times, it is shot through the roof. This figure used to be around about the £100 mark in nice box, and it's actually the price I paid for it, actually, which I was happy with. Used to be able to get it slightly cheaper as well. But then all of a sudden, people have been asking for with a nice box, 200, 250, 300, and it just gets really silly. I also have a carded figure of I think it's like the Cairo Swordsman. It's a cake edition. I paid like £40 for it on card, which is great. But that's gone up to like £125 now, and that's one of the best cards, one of the easiest cards to get hold of. Indy on card is £1,000. That's what people are asking for him. Graded is about £2,000, which is just silly. I don't understand why that adds to it. So I've been trying my best to get myself some more Indiana Jones stuff into my collection. It's just near impossible. Last month I purchased Indy loose with his whip and his gun. His thumb was missing, and it came with his backing card, and it also came with him in the German uniform, the figure, and the backing card, and it was beautiful. And I'm thinking, apart from his thumb, I'm happy with that. And I paid £200 for it, and I waited a week and another bit, a couple more days, and then thinking, when is this going to turn up? And at the last minute, the guy cancelled the order. I don't know why he cancelled it. Maybe he got another bid from somebody else, but it was strange because it was up for a long time, and I was gutted because I was happy to pay that, because Indiana Jones, this figure, complete, is just near impossible to find in the UK. Really, really hard. I've never seen Indy on card in the UK. I've never seen loose actually for sale in person. Yeah, so if you find any of this Indiana Jones stuff and it's not complete or it's incomplete, still buy it, because it's going for the roof. If you're an Indiana Jones collector, you need to start buying now, because you're never going to get the sort of prices that they're going to command in the future, because people are just going crazy for it right now. And if a film comes out, that's it. That's the final nail on the coffin for us budget collectors. So anyway, that's it for now. That's, to me, these are some of my favourite things to add to my collection. The Ghostbusters Ecto 2, will be staying in my collection for now. Indy will be in my collection, and I'll probably keep this in my collection for now until I decide what to do with my Jurassic Park collection. Airfix kits will all be for sale, which is really sad because I like to hoard things. As soon as I see something which I think is nice, I think I want to keep it, but no, it's got to go. And so with the Amiga figure, he'll be for sale. So yes, thank you very much again. Please like and subscribe. It means a lot to me when you subscribe, and I will try and put out some more videos in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to some toy shops in the next week. I'm probably going to be going to a car boot sale in the next couple of weeks. And then eventually the toy shows will be back, and I can do some filming from them. Thanks again, and stay safe. Happy toy hunting.